You know who it is, and you know what time it is. Time to piss off some feminists, trad cucks, and whoever don't want to know the truth. Oh well, let's get started. What is going on, gents? It's R.P.M. here, breaking this stupid curfew and reporting from Mobile Command. Pure MGTOW Paladin sent me a very funny article about an Egyptian model who got arrested because she was taking pictures in an area where she should not have been taking pictures because she did not have the proper paperwork or authorization to do so. Now, as much as I want to do that article, I saw this article underneath it. And gentlemen, this article is very serious, and particularly for men who are still dealing with single mothers. Very important lesson to be learned here. Now, this article was published on the 1st of December. 5-year-old hit and killed after mother's boyfriend forced him out of car as punishment, sheriff says. I like how they use the word force to make sure to paint this guy as a monster. Misguided? Definitely. Made a huge mistake? Of course. And I'm going to cover those two mistakes later. But so far as a monster, I don't think so. A 5-year-old boy was hit and killed by a car in Alabama this week after he was forced to exit a car on a busy highway as punishment for quote-unquote acting up, Russell County Sheriff Heath Taylor told CBS News. Taylor said the child, who I'm not going to name, but you can read it in the article, was in the car Saturday night with his mother's boyfriend, who was driving on a quote-unquote exceptionally dangerous road when he forced the child out of the car. They are literally painting the picture of him literally putting a gun to this kid's head and telling them, get out. That night, state troopers and the Russell County Sheriff's Department responded to calls about a pedestrian being hit on Highway 165. Once we got there, we realized that it was a young child who had walked out into the road, Taylor told CBS News on Tuesday. The responding officers soon found out how the child ended up on that busy highway, Taylor said. Brian Starr, who is in a relationship with the child's mother but is not his biological father, had taken the boy on a drive to quote-unquote calm him down after he acted up at home, the sheriff said. He was still acting out, and so Mr. Starr pulled off the road and told him to get out of the car, Taylor continued. Now, this is 8 p.m. at night. It's raining, it's cold, and he tells the child to get out of the car. When the boy got out of the car and started walking, Starr lost sight of him, Taylor said. And the next thing he knows, he walked out into a very busy 4-lane highway and is hit by an oncoming vehicle. The child later died at the hospital. This boyfriend has been charged with murder, Taylor said. He has been arrested and is out on bond. Taylor said Starr is in the military and is stationed at Fort Benning in Georgia, which borders Russell County, Alabama. The sheriff said Starr faced, he could face 20 years to life in prison if convicted. Man, I tell you, I definitely think Mr. Starr made a bad decision in more ways than one, which I'm going to detail, and I'm going to actually detail a silver lining to all of this. Taylor said, I can understand trying to discipline a child. I don't understand putting a child out in the rain and losing sight of the child. That is what is just mind-boggling to me. I don't know what he was thinking. Taylor said Starr lives off of Highway 165 and knows how congested that road is. For him to put a child out in the area on purpose and intentionally tell the child to get out of the car, I'm struggling to follow the mindset there. Taylor said, I hope it serves as a lesson to parents. There's a way to discipline your child, but we have to do it the right way, and we cannot do it in a way that's going to potentially bring harm. The sheriff, who was not at the scene, said deputies reported Starr was remorseful. They said you could tell he was upset. I don't know, that was certainly his intent originally to do that, but his actions caused the death, ultimately with the child. Taylor said he was going to speak to the child's mother, whom he did not name, again on Tuesday. He said he can't imagine what the mother is going through. Okay, gentlemen, I'm going to go into the mistakes that Mr. Starr made. Mistake number one, he gave his valuable commitment to an unworthy woman. Yes, gentlemen, particularly you men who have no children, never give your commitment to a woman who is bringing children with her. Single mothers should never be given your commitment. Why? Because the fact that she's a single mother shows that she cannot commit. Now, of course, here is always the game plan of the single mother. They all have a sob story, and they're going to use their children as emotional pawns, particularly for us men who came up in single mother households. Now, how does that tie in? Well, for us men who came up in single mother households, when this woman presents a sob story to us and we see that child, a lot of us superimpose our childhood trauma onto that child and say, we don't want this child to experience the same things that we went through. So, in essence, that activates our protector part of our brain because we see the child as an innocent. Unfortunately, these women use their child or children, if they have multiple children, as pawns. So yes, do not give your valuable commitment to a woman bringing children with her. She is at most a casual and occasional hookup. Even if she tries to say, well, where's this going? Do you want to meet my kids? At that point, gentlemen, you should exit stage left. And you must be upfront. See, that's another big reason why women out here literally have the unmitigated gall to tell men, my children come first. Okay, cool. Your children come first. I'm in agreement with that. However, I'm not going to pour my resources into your children. Now, this is coming from a man who became a stepfather. Gentlemen, that right there is a very low position. I would not recommend any man marrying a woman with children. Do not do it. I know there's always going to be some article out there or some video over on YouTube who says, oh, a single mother's great, or that's a wonderful thing. No, there was a time where a man becoming a stepfather was viewed as an honorable thing. Back then, women were definitely more grateful. However, this batch of women, no, do not do it. They are unworthy. Do not waste your time. Do not waste your emotions, and do not waste your money on them. Now, for the second mistake that Mr. Starr made. He should not have been disciplining that child at all. That child was not biologically his, nor was he legally tied to that mother through marriage. So no, once that child started acting up, if him and the child's mother were in his house, he should have packed them all up and left and took them back to their house. Now, if he was in her house, he should have gotten up and left. It should have never gotten to that point, because that just goes to show how bad her parenting skills are. And isn't it ironic? She is not named. They say they can't imagine what she's going through. Well, obviously, what she tried to do was bring in a military man to instill discipline into her son. So the question that I'm going to ask is, where's the child's biological father? See, that goes back to the first point that I made about how how single mothers all have a sob story. Gentlemen, do not fall for that sob story. And if you're going to deal with a single mother, like I said before, do not let her bring her children around. They are not your responsibility. Do not make them your responsibility. Don't. So insofar as that point, yes, he was completely wrong, because he should not have taken on that burden and tried to discipline that child. Now, as callous as this is going to sound, it's the truth nonetheless. For the silver lining, this child's biological father, if he's being held by the gun of the state to pay child support, he just got a get out of jail free card. Yes, as callous as that sounds, it is still the truth. She's off with another man collecting child support, potentially from the child's biological father. Well, guess what? He ain't got to worry about that anymore. Hey, it is what it is. But, yeah, gentlemen, if you know guys that are still dealing with single mothers, I don't know why you would, especially in this day and time. You may have to cut those guys off, because as much as you may want to try to save them from themselves, they will end up trying to fight you for trying to save them. Gentlemen, don't try to save these guys anymore. All the information is out there as to why single mothers are a bad investment for men. But if they still want to engage with them, say, you know what? You do you. I'm going to sit back and watch from afar. But when things eventually blow up in your face, do not come to me for sympathy. Hey, it is what it is. It's your life. You got to live it. And if you want to go down this road with this woman, when it eventually blows up, and she will blow it up, you got to pay the price for it. Well, read the article. Let me know what you guys think. Oh, and before I get out of here, I've been asked to upload a specific one of my old videos, which I'm going to do tomorrow. And gentlemen, that one's going to be a humdinger. Oh, you're going to enjoy it. But with that being said, ladies, the power is still metaphorically out. Feminism and single mothers trying to replace the child's biological father with other men, that's eventually going to go out right along with it, as more men are waking up and they're killing the stepdaddy role. Good on you, gentlemen. Good on you. That is a position that needs to die. Fellas, if you do not have children, your most basic standard is she should not come with children. Unfortunately, the dating scene has been flooded with single mothers. So, do not be the simp that tries to save her. Let her drown in the misery of the decision that she made. That's all I got to say for this one. R.P.M. I am